The Rangemaster is the best circuit in the world. Prove me wrong. Hello, people. Welcome to the Pedal Dive podcast. Today, I am Hello Sailor Joe, and my co-host is...
Greetings and salutations. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are, whatever it may be. I'm Space Wolf, John Mulholland.
And our guest is...
I'm Alex from Memory Lane Electronics.
Oh, getting a bit of echo there from somewhere. I think it might be my audio, probably. What did they say about me messing up the audio, or something always goes wrong at some point?
Wouldn't be a Pedal Dive podcast without it.
Yeah, exactly. And today we're discussing my favorite circuit. We couldn't make it last week because I'm moving house, moving workshop, and I'm actually in my garage now that I have soundproof boarded out almost. And I've only just got Wi-Fi in today, by the way, so it was touch and go for a second there. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing great. If I can keep the potential spam calls from coming in during this podcast, I just had one pop up. I'm like, great. So
it's the worst.
I thought those were all over after the election, but having my phone number based in a disaster area, I'm getting daily updates from the city of Asheville in a minute and 20 second long robotic message form every day. So sometimes 3 or 4 times a day.
Well, you guys are all over our news, like the actual BBC News at Asheville, like voting booths. I sent you a picture, didn't I? It's like tents put up to vote in. And stuff.
Yeah. They definitely got the national coverage there for sure. I mean, back in 2006, I was part of a studio musician team that recorded the soundtrack for a television commercial for the city, to kind of get the tourist industry. I mean, it was airing nationwide and internationally. So it was like...
We really need to do your life story, mate.
People won't believe
the man's
it,
have more jobs and more interesting jobs. Yeah, crazy.
Yeah, I'll have to keep some of it classified, but
Right. So shall we? Oh, go on, John.
I was going to say happy Sovereign Remembrance Day. For yesterday, and it's I want to say Happy Veterans Day to all the veterans, people who are actively serving and have served in the U.S. So because it's Veterans Day here.
Awesome, mate. I put out a post on Instagram that lost me a couple of followers for some reason. A little bit too military for some people, maybe. I don't know.
Well, I mean, you are in the military, so it's kind of hard to escape that fact of your life. So.
Yeah, exactly. I thought that was a bit odd, but there you go. Now on to the best circuit in the world. Now,
yes,
I'm still waiting for a pedal from our guest because, oh my God,
really?
You'll see if you. Yeah, it's still not here.
Jesus.
No!
I've lost. I lost the tracking number, so that means that the pedal probably would be in the UK already, probably.
Well, John's still trying to send me one because they play football with it and then they sent it back to him.
Jesus.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So now I'm getting ready to pack it up with other stuff and go for attempt number 2. I mean, the stuff that I sent to Simon, it was there in no time. Same shipping method, everything.
It's local to me. Like they're rather incompetent. We used to have a really good postman who's like exactly the same time every day, prompt. The packages would turn up square. I don't know why it's so hard to make them turn up in the shape that they were sent in, but yeah, it's a thing.
It's a good thing I packed it well. I was like, this is going overseas, so I better make sure that it's cushioned on the inside. Nothing was broken, but man, it looked like it was, like you said, it looked like it had been punted a few times.
Well, I've had a couple lately that I've posted out from Reverb sales that have been sent for a week, meant to go to the UK and then delivered back to me. And like, well, why would I post it to myself? Just look at the address on it.
I know. It's mad.
I'm in the wrong job. Maybe I should start a postal company.
How did the blues festival go for you? That I was looking at all the Instagram posts that Buddha was putting up there. That looked like it was a blast, man.
Yeah, we actually we didn't spend the whole festival in Braga. It's the place where the festival was occurring.
Mm-hmm.
But the first 2 days are They make like a showcase of local luthiers, Portuguese luthiers, and stuff like that. And yeah, it was a blast. It's usually always a blast. We are a very small country.
Oh yeah. Portugal's tiny.
Yeah. But
so I've never made it there.
Sorry, mate.
I've never made it to Portugal, unfortunately. We were meant to go to Lisbon a couple of times, but it's never materialized.
Oh, Lisbon's beautiful from all the photos that I've seen. I'd love to go.
Yeah, me too.
The Mediterranean and that part of the Atlantic are just beautiful.
I think the closest I've been is Gibraltar, probably.
Yeah,
It's not that
I
close.
guess for me it would be Florence and Rome.
I thought you were going to say Florida then.
Been to Florida way too many times. Way too many times to Florida.
So, like I was saying, if anyone's seen the thumbnail for this show, is the inside of the best looking pedal you've ever seen. Man, that thing just looks. It could have come from the 60s. So good.
It actually was a bit of a mess. Since so we put a Mark One tone bender, a variant of a Mark One tone bender, and a treble booster on the other side. But I never done anything like that, where like a 2-in-1, but with the original layouts that we usually do. So it was like a trial and error, trying to fit everything in place, but aesthetically it was a bit nah.
All right, look good to me. So good. I actually sent John a thumbnail of the original picture you sent me, and I was like, "This is going to be the." And as soon as I seen the picture inside that pedal you sent, it's like, "No, that's got to go on there. Has to."
Has to.
Yeah, some of the caps in there. Like sometimes you see a pedal and you think, "I wish I built that myself."
Jesus, not this one.
Mate, have you ever seen inside a magnetone amp? I love magnetones, the old ones, and it looks like someone just threw up components inside it.
Yeah, but in the amplification realm, let's say it like this, I find it like appealing, but not in the pedal world. I don't know why.
Yeah, I did. I mean, for me, if I to look inside the pedal, I think Marcus Reeves probably does the best. In actually, I've just noticed Marsden amplifications on. They do a treble booster with like a photo transistor in there, OCP 71, if I remember correctly.
Yeah,
and then things are just inside. It looks like a work of art. If you put that in a frame, I would put it on my wall definitely.
And the graphics too. The enclosure graphics are crazy.
Yeah.
Oh, mate.
Yep, they are. Yep, I was going to say his just the fact that he does that little lightning bolt foot switch PCB like that little touch. I mean, you want to play the pedal upside down so you can look at the inside while you're playing it. I mean,
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He should just make a clear enclosure so you can just see all the work, but then it probably wouldn't work right because you got to have it shielded.
Yeah,
we'll figure a way out.
Who did the clear enclosure with like a skeleton inside, like a Davy Bones locker or something inside the clear enclosure? Have you seen that one?
Saw that. Yeah.
Oh, mate,
I saw that. Like
I'm drawing a blank.
Ago. Yeah,
I feel like it's going to be low sounds, something like that. But I don't know. Yeah, that was a good one.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, let's bring it round to the Rangemaster. So, for the treble booster and the pedal that you made for us. What circuit did you go for? Was it a Rangemaster or was it something a bit tweaked?
Kind of tweaked, but nothing too crazy. Just one resistor. Just to I like my Rangemasters a bit lower than 7 volts. I don't know why. At least because I use several different types of transistors of series. On the treble booster. I can't pick one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I've tweaked them so much like over the years. There isn't a single component that I haven't like messed about with. And I'm with you there. I normally aim for about 6.5 volts. I think for germanium, probably. But as you say, it depends.
And it sounds fine at 6.5 or 7.5. I guess it's more like a tiny bit of a difference in the sound. I guess it's not super. It doesn't scream at you, you know.
Yeah, I think it's a balance between the background noise and the and the bite you get from it, because I think when it sounds its best, it's a little bit too noisy, and then if you back it off a little too much, you lose. Like, I mean, I know some people, and the people who have messaged me will know. They say, "Oh, it's too noisy" or whatever. Yeah, but I find that if you try and get rid of that, you take something away from the sound as well. So for me, if you're not playing, just turn your volume down on your guitar, and you're all good. You know, yeah, that's definitely it.
In preparation, well, I was going to say, in preparation for this show, I was watching that pedal show podcast they did, 5 years ago on the Rangemaster, and you know, he was saying that, like, you know, the same thing that you were saying, Alex, like about how that high, like real high frequency, like some people it just bothers them. Like I do believe that like different people have frequency attenuations, and so I can relate, because there's certain frequencies that I like completely tune out of my pedal designs, and other people miss them whenever they hear them, and they're like, you know, where'd that go? It's like, if you want it back, I can put it back. You know, so.
It's super normal. Even the hearing loss. I have some hearing loss because I actually am I'm a full-time pedal builder, but I'm a musician too. I usually play bass and double bass, jazz double bass, and I'm always too close to the drums with my
fault.
left ear.
I don't know if you can see them behind me, but there's like a whole stack of 68 Slingerlands. So
those are the good ones.
Yeah, I was
what is it?
professional.
The hi-hat, is it? Like the symbol of the hi?
Probably the crash. I would say.
It's
the crash is brutal.
Yeah, and especially the rides.
And the rides, a bell. Yeah.
Since I'm on the left side of the drums. The drums are on my left side. So I have
and a right-handed drummer would be the ride symbol would be right there. I'm a lefty, so I would be hitting you with my hi-hat instead.
It's better.
It's a lot better. Yeah. I've actually had a lot of bass players say that they preferred playing with me because I was left-handed, and we could like lock in. I could look right over to the hi-hat and make eye contact with them and really get the pocket grooving.
Even the position of the drum set, it's easier to focus on the bass player if he's on your right side.
Exactly.
Oh, we got some cool comments coming in, and this one: has anyone ever used the capacitor multiplier circuit to cut down on noise? Now, I use a variation of this. For me, I take the original Crybaby wah. The filter circuit out of that is like, I think it's like a 100 UF cap, 100 NF cap. I know people hate me saying UF, by the way. I had a thing on one of my videos recently on YouTube where someone was really unhappy that I went saying microfarads and saying UF because it's not actually a U. Cheers. Anyway, 100 UF cap, 100 NF cap, and like a low value resistor, like less than 1K, and a Zener diode if you want that sort of protection. And I use that on the input, and that'll get rid of any frequencies. But what about you guys? Do you use like any sort of caps on your power supply, or?
Oh yeah, definitely. I test with the dirtiest power supply that you can buy. I bought like the cheapest Temu multi-power supply, for like $20, and I use that to power all my test pedals. So if it's clean through that, I know it's going to be clean no matter what, because I know what you guys do with your stuff. I'm a musician. I know what musicians do with pedals. It's like, it's 9 volts. Yeah, that'll work.
Straight from the wall.
Yep.
Actually, I don't. Rangemasters in specific, I don't put anything. But it's usually a tricky question, because if we are talking about germanium, the majority of the people will just give you the battery.
That's true.
That's the
especially for P&P, rather than trying to do all the like power
Exactly.
rails, dual rail power supply stuff.
Yeah.
So for me, I use PNP transistor with a center negative power supply, same as normal, and just flip the transistor. So it works backwards.
You flip the transistor or flip the power rails?
No, I flip the transistor so it can work with a normal power supply. So if you look at the Keeley Java boost circuit, that will give you the key to using PNP transistors with a regular power supply.
Cool.
Yeah, I usually wire them that way, but
yeah,
I don't know if it is like flipping the transistor. My brain starts to get super confused about that stuff because it's like super. I don't have any studies on electronics or something like that. So the some terms or the go-tos usually start to get a little bit foggy between them. I don't know why.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you. I understand.
Yeah, we're definitely not professionally trained, mate. I'm a mechanical engineer by trade. So yeah,
I'm a Renaissance redneck. So
there you go. Yeah, I think if you look at the Keeley Java boost, the way that he's wired that up, it'll take a regular power supply, but you use a PNP transistor, so you don't have to mess about with like a phase. A pos neg, like whatever you call it. Yeah. I never had any good luck with them. They had too much noise to the power supply. It sounds different.
Yeah. I actually never tried them. I start giving people just the battery option, and probably 6 months ago I started flipping the polarity, so it accepts the center negative, the normal one.
I got you.
And all fine from that point on. But sometimes there are some circuits that could like be a bit start to how can I say this? Sorry. They start like for instance the fuzz face. If you switch the transistors, they usually start to get motorbikey and sound and stuff like that.
Yeah,
it doesn't work with that one.
Yeah.
Well, before we move on, I'd just like to go through and say thanks to everyone in the chat. We love to take questions from the chat. We've got Mike Rivers in first, as ever. Justin Drawbridge from Drawbridge Electronics, who was on it previous episode. What a good one that was. And if you've seen his new enclosures, oh my Lord.
Oh, those things are epic.
Yeah.
Yeah. And talking about point-to-point wiring, man, his point-to-point stuff is amazing too. Yeah.
Marsden amplification, Aricia fuzz.
It is Seda.
That's the one.
It's a buddy of mine.
I follow him on Instagram.
Amazing pedals.
So me too.
Yeah,
it's just my dyslexia. There was way too many eyes in there.
World, really. I mean, when you think about it, I started like looking at all the different people that I've been interacting with. I'm like, wow, I've got people in every time zone on the planet that I talk to. I mean, it doesn't matter what time of day or night that I'm up. I've got somebody that's live that I can like chat with about something if I've got a question. And
I get it all the time. People say, you need to check this pedal out, follow these guys. I'm like, well, I follow them already. I follow them. We've also got Dave Barry, Izzy Reeves from Reeves Electronics, and Dave Pekarski, as ever. Talking about he's going deaf too. We all are. I'm not going to say.
I had the tinnitus earlier today in my left ear, so it's one of those things.
My problem is in the engine rooms on board the warship. If you think of machinery sounding a bit bad, you used to take a screwdriver, put it to our ear defenders, and then put it on the machinery. And so after the time, like it's just constant ringing. I'm knackered now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
It's I'm fighting a losing battle.
I grew up. My dad was a professional pilot, so I grew up around turboprop airplanes and jets and all kinds of stuff. So, I mean, and I also used to hang out at the pits at racing events because, he flew one of the NASCAR drivers around as his personal pilot because they were sponsoring his team. And so
you need to write a book.
3 or 4 probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
But see, the thing is, I'm too busy living the life. I can't take time off to write the book. Somebody just needs to follow me around and take notes. And
I feel like AI could help.
I need somebody like the Don. Whoa! What did I just knock over? Hey. Okay, that wasn't liquid.
Well,
right,
well actually, yeah.
Disaster there. Sorry.
And this is the only Rangemaster circuit that I could that I could find. So apologies, but this is the one that I've worked off in the past. It's made by Mark. If anyone's seen his drawings before.
Oh yeah,
of course.
Yeah, he's legendary.
I know. I tell you what, I wouldn't have a pedal business if it weren't for that man.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, back in the day when I first started doing this stuff, he was one of the only people that would actually reach out and like talk with you if you were just getting started. I mean, on the forums, when everybody else was jumping on you and telling you how much of a loser you were because you were working with this circuit and why weren't you working with that circuit, and it's like, he would actually answer your question, even if it was a so-called stupid question. So, big props to Mark Hammer. Yeah.
Wow.
That's a wonderful community we have.
Have I got that? That's definitely open properly, isn't it? Is it? Yeah. So the input cap. Now, I don't know how many of you use the 5NF or 4.7 NF for the input. I like to put the option on a switch, but really my preferred is around the 12 NF mark. So I've got these mustard caps, the Mullard ones that are like 5.9 NF, 2 of them together.
I don't have any of them here.
So
that's my
which
goal.
capacitors do you use?
The Mullard mustard caps. The input
what
cap.
values?
Yeah, they look just like what's on the tag board there. They're like little radial yellow cylinder.
5.9 NF, I think they are. I bought like 500 of them, and I've just been slowly working through them. But yeah, so about 5.9 NF, and then I add in on the switch another 5.9 NF, so it takes it to pretty close to 12. Is where I like it. What about you guys?
Well, for me, like I've never built a Rangemaster traditionally, so I'm like you on some of these circuits. I'm here to learn about this, what I want to do on the first build that I do. So cool. I'm up for any kind of experimentations. I'm going to put a socket in it and like pop different values in and see what I like I'm want to do.
Yeah.
I usually we use a 3-way toggle switch.
Oh yeah, that's right. I saw Buddha demonstrating that.
Yeah. We go usually between 2.2 NFs, and I have my little math calculation here, which gives you a bump of around 6 kilohertz, give it a take, more or less, yeah. 4.7 in conjunction with the 2.2, so around 6 something 7. That will give you a bump around the 3 kilohertz, and that's the last position. It's like a 47 nanofarads.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, going real dark.
Transforms the circuit into a fuzz, honestly.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it does. That the demonstration of all of your pedals that Buddha, if people haven't followed Dr. Guitar or checked out his YouTube channel, check him out. He does some really good gear reviews, really in depth, and he goes into the meat and potatoes of what the effect will do and how to get it. And he really did a great job on your pedals. And not just because you're a fellow countryman, but he said because you make great pedals, and I agree. I mean, the stuff that he was like demonstrating about all your different circuits. I mean, yes, I was excited after seeing that. I'm like, I got to pick this guy's brain sometime. So.
Same here, mate. Same here. And he was also another guy that I was like, I followed this already, because I just searched Memory Lane in YouTube, and he was the first one that come up. Like, wow.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Definitely.
And it was
also,
funny because
before-
I found him when I was searching for fuzz face videos like months ago, and then first video that pops up is like, hey, I know who that guy is.
Yeah, perfect.
Awesome.
I also on the input, a little unknown secret is that if you want this sort of circuit to play well with other pedals, I mean, obviously it's better to have this first in the signal chain, but if you're running a fuzz face 2 or something, if you put a low value resistor on the input, so what I like to do is put something maybe like a 500 ohm resistor going from the input to the circuit. It really helps tame the spikiness you get from it when adding another circuit prior to it. Obviously, it's not the input simulator. You can use a transformer wired up as an inductor, all that jazz. But this is a just a standard resistor. I got some old ones that are salvaged from amplifiers that I've been messing with. And that'll transform it if you're playing it with other pedals. And also, if you're playing into something that isn't a valve amp, it tends to make it sound a bit more natural going into my Black Star Fly. Yeah.
Okay. I never tried that resistor.
Oh, cool. There's an article on AMZ about the input simulator. That's another great thing. All it is basically the same idea. Only you've got you're using a transformer, but only wiring half of the bit up one coil and use it as an inductor on the input, and that simulates your guitar's pickup impedance. That's another good.
That's a great little hack. Putting that in a box by itself where you can just turn it on and off at will too is pretty cool.
So I got that from Stu Tate from Tate Effects. He had his own tweaked version. I was messing with it and he said, no, mate, do this and basically give me the keys to the kingdom type thing.
Oh, nice.
That was cool of him.
But do you hear any difference when you have the treble booster? Like guitar treble booster amplifier.
Yeah, it takes something away. Yeah, it takes something away. It's kind of the difference between if you're playing lots of pedals into an amp and then you turn your pedals off and you got that capacitance of your cable and it just robs a little bit. It's not. You could say high end, but it's not high end, is it? It's just something is missing. It does a little bit of that to the sound. It does. But if you wanted to play well with other pedals, Thomas Sowell once said, "There's no right answers. There's only trade-offs," and it's a trade-off. So you wanted to play nice with other pedals, you lose that. Yeah,
exactly.
You have that with everything. The Rangemaster's that type of circuit because there's only a few components. You mess with one thing and you are taking that circuit to another place.
Yep.
Yeah, usually all the circuits that are like minimalist or with usually less parts, it will diverge easier from the starting point. Yeah,
exactly. And I think that's why I originally liked the Rangemaster so much, because you could mess with it and it would make a tangible difference. So other circuits, like maybe the TS808 or something, in my head, I'm like, did that make a change, or am I just thinking it made a change because I've changed something? With the Rangemaster, it is so unmistakably present. Mm-hmm. Do you put the pull down resistors in that are on this, the 1 meg pull down resistors for the input and output?
Usually it needs to be there.
So I always put them in, and I made a pedal for a friend of mine. You'll know who I'm talking about if he's on here. He's actually sending it back to me for me to fix it because it's getting a little bit of a pop and it's annoying him. I was like, the one time I didn't.
The one time you didn't do it.
Yeah. And he's over in the States as well. So it's, there's another problem with the post, I'll have no doubt.
Hey, you could have a U.S. service center with me if.
Well, yeah, that's not a bad idea.
If once you get the pedals, if actually they get you the pedals that I send you, and you can see what my work looks like.
I'm still trying to convince the wife that she wants to live in Texas. I just feel like everything's big in America, and I'm in. Yeah,
definitely have wide open spaces here for sure.
What I couldn't get is even the curbs, what you guys would call the sidewalk. It's just massive. Everything's just like, screw you, we're making it bigger. I like that.
Well,
it's kind of like the inside of my pedals.
They were built during a time, when there was already transportation that was, bigger to traverse. So like it was in the carriage age. You guys were building carriage paths on footpaths. So,
yeah.
I mean, that's the advantage to occupying an area for only a few hundred years.
Fair one. Let's not talk about the demise of the British Empire. I don't think my ego would
all things must fall. Everything that rises must fall. So
yeah,
this too shall pass. I didn't know if you'd noticed my shirt yet or not. I wore this in honor of you. Since that's something you go on about in your videos.
I'm trying to read the numbers. It's from
it's the periodic table of the elements.
Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, it's element 23, the element of confusion. This was
it's just passing right by my side. Sorry, my dad.
Okay. Well, this is for Joe because he gives himself a lot of grief over that. So when I saw this shirt, I was like, I've got to wear it.
On my YouTube videos, because in the Navy, if you want something done, you got to swear, and you got to call someone I won't say the words. You will have to. And so when I'm filming my videos and I'm trying to record, I'm dying to swear my head off, and instead of swearing, I say,
okay. Okay.
Yeah, it's an ongoing battle. You can't be a chief engineer without swearing. It's not possible. So there I am again. Fuck. So next in line on this circuit, do you mess with any of the 470k resistor coming from the power supply and stuff? Did you say you?
No. Usually the only one that I tweak a bit, it's the 3.9. But usually, it's the. I always prefer to choose the right transistor for the right values than being fiddling with the resistors. Usually, not all the time, but usually, yeah. So the resistors usually I maintain them stock.
Yeah. I mean, the 5K that's on this drawing, which is 3.9 on the original, and the 470, not the 470, sorry, the 68K, I put them as pots. I use a 5K pot and a 100K pot just because, well, I like to tweak it in, and I feel like it gives people the option to mess about with it afterwards and then tell me it's broken, send it back to me.
Well, and two,
with
germanium being so finicky, sometimes you have to like go in and like dial it back to the sound that you wanted it to be at because of temperature conditions and all sorts of stuff. So it's good sometimes to have that.
We had a hell of a hot summer, and I had quite a few phone calls of people saying, this pedal's broke. Like, has it been in your conservatory? Yes. Is it hot? Yes. Put it in the fridge for 10 minutes and then let's see what it does. But yeah, I've seen that quite a bit. What about the filter caps on here? So the label does 47 UF on here, and I add UF, not microfarads, just to annoy everyone. I only asked because Cesar Diaz and his Texas, what is it, the booster that he does, the treble boost, he uses 33 UF. And I don't know if you find that significant in any way.
But probably 33 probably won't make a lot of a difference. If you start getting lower, then probably 22, 15 probably. Then I guess you will start to a little bit, I guess.
It's not as prevalent in this as it is on the fuzz face. Like the larger value cap on a fuzz face, you can get down to like 4.7 UF. And even then, I'm still like, it's only just about dialing some bass out type thing.
Yeah, I've thrown a 10 UF in there before.
Yeah, exactly.
Face, yeah.
I find it doesn't make as much. Sorry, good.
No, usually when we go lower on the value, like the more tight it starts to feel, I guess, in the first phase. I could be wrong, but that's the feeling that I take from those experiments.
Yeah. The fuzz face. I mean, me and John talked for like how long did we do on a fuzz face? We could have kept
almost
going.
2 hours.
Yeah,
we could still go for days. And I mean, like that whole topography of that circuit is responsible for so many other things that have been born off of it. It's not even, not even possible to like do it justice in a 2-hour show.
And leading on to the final onboard component I want to talk about, or on on circuit component, is the output cap from the master himself, Marsden Amplification. So he messes with the output cap to like mess with the bass response. You do that yourself, or?
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I definitely I go anywhere between 20 or 22 NF, just depending on, mainly for me, it probably depends on how the capacitor looks. If I've got something big that I want to use in there, then I will.
He definitely will.
Yeah. If I've got a 22 NF cap and it looks good in that position, then it's going in there.
Yeah.
But I think most of this circuit, you get most of your tuning from the input cap. So if you're going to put a larger output cap, you can just tailor your input cap to it. Although it is said that the more bass you put into the input of the transistor, the more like blown out gain you're going to get, because the bass, obviously.
Yeah, the more dirt you'll get out of the circuit, I think that's the way Josh was describing it in his Electra class that he did, was like the greater the amount of the bass that you were pumping in at the input would get more distortion in the transistor. Yeah. So if you wanted less distortion, to go with lower, or not, I guess lower values. I'm trying to like do the math in my head. Is that lower or higher? Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't do math even if you paid me. So do you have a preferred type of capacitor that you use for the circuit? Like brand or?
It depends of the position of the in the circuit, but usually not in the one that I send you, but I really dig some paper in oil Soviets capacitors.
Oh, the K4 what for Y09 is there something?
I can't remember the name.
Yeah, I know the ones you're
I actually started to study a bit of the Cyrillic alphabet, but I can put words together.
I think the originals were made in Ukraine, weren't they? In in Mariupol, something like that.
Yeah, I can be wrong, but sorry guys, basically the Ukraine was the region,
the manufacturing hub.
Basically of the Soviet Union.
Yeah, they definitely had a lot of the tech for sure.
Yeah. And as John said before, they were making and using germanium much longer than the Americans and everyone else. So they perfected it, and it was in production for longer. So
at least till 84.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
probably much, probably till the 90s, but 84 at least was the newer ones that I got. The transistors were 84.
Yeah. And that actually leads us on to transistors, the favorite and most important part of this circuit.
Oh, yes.
Definitely. I mean, do you have favorites that you lean on? I mean, I know you said before that you like Soviet.
Soviet transistors. I really dig them in fuzz phase style circuits, but in Rangemasters I prefer the OC ones. I really dig the OC42. It's probably one of the the best transistor for this application, because it's kind of a OC44, but the frequency is different, of course. But it was one of the first switching transistors.
Oh, cool.
Made, and they usually fall in between the specifics that the Rangemaster asks for. Sorry, the treble booster. Let's not call it Rangemaster, because it's
they were all Rangemaster. Yeah.
Well, there's a great article online. I'll see if I can find a link after the show that talks about all of them transistors, what they were used for, and puts them in a chronological order. Fantastic. You probably read it. It's fantastic.
It's the Popa or something like that.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah,
it's amazing.
Fantastic. I always believed that the photo transistors were like the highest graded ones, and they just didn't paint them. But they never. They just randomly took a load of them.
It's the other way around, basically.
Yeah,
they're like all in between the for instance the photo transistor, the OCP 71.
Yeah,
it's basically it can go from OC 71 to a kind of a OC 75.
Yeah,
and you can do all some crazy stuff with it, with light and all that stuff. It won't change drastically the sound, but will throw for instance, it will throw the bias off. And that could be cool, I guess. I have a couple. I've tried them on the treble booster, but I prefer the regular OC71s for this application.
I just think they're so wild. Them OCP 71s are good. Like, I bought a batch of 100 of them. I think I got maybe 12 at best that were within spec for the Rangemaster, you know. But then, of course, you could maybe buy another batch and it get, I don't know, more probably. I didn't go too far into it. I mean, I know Mars and Amplification used them for all of his, so he must have been through hundreds to be able to do that. But my goal is an NKT 678. Now, I know everyone likes the 275. That's like the original. But if you can find NKT 678 transistors, buy them. I would even buy pedals and then take them out. They're the goal for me. Or used to be able to get NKT 12s quite freely, but now they've become impossible too.
The 12s are the which ones are the ones that are similar to the OC44?
I thought that was the 271, but I might be wrong there.
It might be the 270.
I'm not sure. Yeah.
I think the 270 is what gets thrown around a lot too.
I've got a drawer of them, but they're the 270X, whatever the X means. I don't know, but yeah, I find with all of this stuff, you can buy them, and you know, time is its own master. So you really do have to test them and go through. It's not like buying silicon transistors where you can go, I like a BC183L or LB from a certain period of time and they're all going to be good. It's not that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. So what about silicon then? What silicon transistors do you lean towards?
I never tried a treble booster with silicon transistors. Never.
Oh, wow.
Never made one.
It's a more shrill, aggressive, kind of looser. How do I explain it? Not looser, more focused. Sorry, it's a bit more 70s rock, I think, rather than softer edges. Yeah, I like to put a switch, just a 3-pole double throw switch, and have the two. People say that it's hard to bias, but if you find whichever transistor's biasing higher, you can just put a pot or a trim pot in there and trim the bias down. It's not an issue. But yeah, I don't know. Transistors, I could talk for days. I mean,
they're the heart and soul of everything. Without the transistors, I mean, could you imagine trying to do what we do with tube technology?
Oh, I know. Come on.
Yeah. Not happening.
I tend to lean to a bit of a lower HFE than most would like for the germanium. So I'm aiming anywhere between 50 and 70 for my Rangemasters. But where conventional wisdom is 70 to 120, is it? Something like that.
I actually dig them with, like, for instance, the OC42s. The ones I had in stock were like super high HFE, and the classic 0.013 of leakage. It's the classic. We usually measure the transistors with the peak DCI, and he usually won't measure the 13 to below. It's usually or is 0, or if it is between 1 and 12, 0.01 or 0.012 or 0.001. It will throw. It will say basically 13. It's usually it's
sweet spot. I find you can go higher, but the problem is when it goes in different temperature zones, it changes drastically if you're over that sort of level, and then it becomes a problem. I would use maybe a 0.2 or a 100. 100 micro amps, is it? I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, I go to 0.2.
100 microamps of leakage. Yeah.
Yeah, so I go to 0.2 if I was putting on a switch with a silicon. So then if someone was in a condition that isn't like my future workshop freezing, and it was somewhere a bit warmer, then they could have the option to switch to silicon and then still, complete a gig or what have you. We've got a couple in the chat here. So Mars and amplification, CV, I'm knocking it off again, a CV5712. So that's a military spec version of something. I'm not too sure on what exactly that's the military spec version of, if anyone's used that before. I like the CV.
Yeah, I never used those before.
CV112. That's a good military spec version of the OC140, so MPN. I tend to save them for fuzz faces though if I do get them. And then we also got Dave Barry in here with his BFY 51.
Yep.
I don't know if anyone's used them.
I guess they are the like a BC 108, the package.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I believe that they are like that in
like that.
Exactly. Yeah, I believe they are like that visually.
Yeah, I get you.
I forgot what that's called. It's a TO something.
I never.
I know.
I can't
remember any of the packaging names. It's like, there's that big metal can that has a little tab sticking off. Oh, it's the little metal can. It's the even smaller metal can. Oh, it's the square metal can.
So I really like for NPN a BFX 68. I think it's a 68. And it's like a kind of it's a larger. It's meant to be a switching transistor. It's not meant to be for audio, but you find them on a Type 23 frigate if anyone ever goes on one in a motor thermal protection unit. On the card for that, there's usually about 8 of them, and that's a decent one. If you're stealing them, I mean, if you're reclaiming them, not stealing them. If anyone's watching from work,
It's upcycling.
Yeah, exactly.
It's upcycling.
So if you're ever using them, the legs are really small on them though, because the Navy like to cram them things in there, which is a bit of a pain. But
nice. Space is at a premium in those places, man.
Yeah, and look at this. He's dropping bombs today. It's a TO18.
TO18. Yep.
That's the type of package that is, isn't it? That's the one. Yeah. All right. Have you ever tried stacking two together? Two Rangemasters?
Oh no. I guess not.
So I do a version of a Rangemaster where both Rangemasters will have a switch to go from silicon germanium. Both will have a transformer on the input and stack directly together. And I use dual concentric pots. So if you're turning up the the volume / gain on one, you're turning it up on both. And then I also put an input pot on each of them, which is 100k pot. That does the same dual concentric. So it's only a 2-knob pedal, but it's got more gain than a fuzz face. And
Oh
it's
man,
insane. But it takes so much to build them, and you have to cram it all in there. And then people don't want to pay the price for all of them components. So I don't build them too often, but that's a...
I need to try
it. I say this, Rangemaster goes with just about anything. You could put that in any rig with anything, as long as you've got a bit of gain in there.
Yeah. I never owned a drive pedal.
Oh, really? Wow.
Yeah, I usually use always a treble booster. Always. Yeah. Never leaves my board. And yeah.
Absolutely. Well, so what sort of amps do you play with? Like do test with?
So my test rig is like and I probably will get some hate from it, but it's like a casino, Epiphone casino, and a Vox AC15.
Oh wow, that's class.
Yeah, that's all. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
that's better than my test rig. I'm using the Black Star Fly. I guess the thing is, it's my bench amp, and when I plug something into it, I just know how it sounds.
Yeah, exactly. You need to know your rig to maintain a good relationship with the things that you hear, and you need to go in that direction. You need to know that the thing is.
It's like a data minute. You got your line to start with. You know how it sounds. You know how it reacts. And then for the valve amp, I used the Victory V40 through a some sort of load box. I forget what it is now. But yeah, I just know how that sounds as well. So it's not too exotic, I find.
Yeah,
just using one of these little guys right here, like one of the 200 watt TC Electronic bass amps, the BAM 200, and that way, you know, I can set it like really clean and get a no color from the amp whatsoever and know what the pedal's doing. And then I'll go plug it into, I've got a tube amp and then also some little like solid state LM386 amps and get the whole spectrum that way. Yeah, having the clean, man, that's something I like.
It's the Marsden. Just asked what that pedal was called. I don't have names for it. It's just the dual Rangemaster, mate. And do you know what? I was using the Victory V40 for all of my testing for the longest time, but I kept leaving it on. So I'd like test the pedal or fault find on a pedal, come back 2 days later, and the amp would still be on. And I was like, I can't keep doing this. There's been a number of times. And of course, when I was going away to sea and stuff, I'd be like, you know, did I leave that on? It's been a few weeks now.
Oh, man.
Them things are built to last, let me tell you, because it's still working now.
that usually used to happen to me with my soldering iron. I usually luckily I build every day. I build pedals every day, so I went to the shop and noticed that the soldering iron was on. So like 8 hours or something like that, but nothing crazy. But I was just checking. Sorry, Justin was saying the TG5S, the transistor.
Where have I missed
that? That's a Polish one. It's a Polish transistor. They are super cool. They are like I have a bunch of them, and I compare them with several different types, and they are more like a OC71. But they are super reliable.
Cool.
They're pretty cool. Yeah.
So quickly get on Google and buy them all before everyone is that.
And they are super cheap.
Yeah. Oh, good.
Yeah.
I think I've seen them. Are they in the same sort of same package as like a Telefunken, that sort of tall, slim metal?
Yeah, it's like the I am at home and I'm not at the shop, so I can't pull stuff out. I don't have any. but yeah, they're like they're slimmer than a regular OC with the bevel bottom.
Okay.
I think I know the ones.
And I believe they have a tab on the emitter, I guess. Probably not. Probably I'm
for the emitter.
That's wrong.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and it's like a really sharp edge to the top of them rather than rounded on. Is that the one?
Like cut.
Flat.
cut,
yeah.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I bought 10 of them from Poland, funnily enough, but they took that long to come. I was like, I'm not ordering more. Funnily enough, I have the same thing from a shop from Ukraine that sells all of the paper and oil caps and transistors and stuff. But it took like 3 months for them to arrive. I thought, surely they're not coming. Not that I need any more components. So Justin Drawbridge had a load of components for sale. And my friend Warren he lives over in Alaska. He bought everything that he had and had it shipped to me from in the workshop. Like everything. There's that that much stuff there. I think I've got about a tenth into the box. It turned out my wife was going nuts because it turned out while I went home and she like tried to carry it in and nearly put it back out. It's ridiculous. I actually pulled out one of them big diodes that you were talking about, mate, that like the size of a fist.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, insane. Like that's got a big bolt going through it. Like, what the but unfortunately, I haven't got my workshop up and running, so I'm kind of like, I haven't built anything for about 2 weeks now. I'm running out of videos. I'm running out of stuff. It's bad times.
Hey,
a builder I am not.
You could do a time-lapse video of your workshop being built.
I've been filming. It's pretty horrific. There'll be people who are actually good at DIY or good with like a cork gun or something, looking on what the hell is that guy doing? And I also bought like the noise-proof plasterboard. That's about 18 times heavier than a piece of plasterboard. So putting the ceiling up, oh my God.
Oh.
I didn't think I was going to make it. Yeah, I'm not built for that sort of thing. There you go. Look at that. 18 kilos
Jesus.
of stuff he sent. It's ridiculous. So huge thank you to Warren if he's watching this or if he catches up after the show because he's in Alaska. Oh my God. I'm going to have fun unpacking now.
It's like 40 pounds. That's crazy.
Yeah. Mad. But and you can imagine how much stuff I've got anyway. I've been squiddling away over the years.
Oh man.
When I had to go packing up a little corner of my workshop and I was finding things like, oh my God, I didn't know I had these. I got a nice little stock of NKT transistors going. I found a bag of, so my wife's granddad passed away a few years ago and he had an organ, like an electric organ from way back when. And as they were putting in a skip, so I got inside and took all the PCBs out and there's loads of transistors on that thing. And I thought I found a bag and I was like, oh God, I got to get through all that at some point. I need to do a video of salvaging that really.
Oh, that's
that's actually it was how I started actually, gathering components to start building stuff, especially germanium transistors at the beginning. And I believe some people like, for instance, we repair a lot of radios too, transistor radios, and honestly, some of them won't be able to restore, and it would be super expensive to bring something to life that costs $10.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So the owner doesn't want the shelf or of a radio anymore. So why not salvage the stuff? But so many people give some nasty looks about that kind of stuff. It's like,
yeah, I get it all the time, mate. I don't care. I'm making guitar pedals,
exactly.
At the end of the day, I can't make music because I'm not very good at playing, and I wrestled with it for the longest time. It's like I really wanted to be a musician, it was never going to happen. I'm tone deaf, you know. But this is my way of making music, and if that upsets some traditionalists for radios, so be it.
Yeah.
I mean, I know John's a big one for salvaging components.
Oh yeah.
I think you must have the biggest collection out of us all, surely.
Oh man, my dad is responsible for that because he was a radio and TV repair hobbyist. It could have been his career if he'd wanted it to be, but then he said it wouldn't be fun anymore. So, but he would do the same thing. People would bring stuff in and abandon it, or just drop it off and say, "Here, you could use this." And so, I'm going through piles and piles of stuff. I've lost more things than I have. Like, so much of my stuff got ransacked this past year. So that's a whole different story. But
we got Wadey 1960 CS saying he's been listening on his drive home from work.
Oh, that's right.
Congrats on the milestone. Cheers, mate. Thank you. I finally got monetized on YouTube. Look at that.
Yes.
We're rich, John. I think that 18p we get advertising. And also, he's probably getting us demonetized now as well. How many hookers go along with about 18 kilos? Well, hey. If anyone in the Navy is watching, he means 18 kilos of components. Yeah, absolutely. So, do you have any like preferred soldier? I've been dying to ask this from before. Your soldering iron, do you have like a specific one you go for, or are you in between? Or
usually I use not inexpensive, but a Weller, the Weller ones. It's a bluish station.
Yeah,
it's not expensive, but yeah, it's probably the lower line.
Yeah,
I guess.
What are they the ones with the really short tips?
Probably.
Yeah,
this size.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're easily replaceable, and
and it's available almost everywhere. So it's cool. But for instance, if I'm working on an amp or something like that, I usually bring the big guns out, an old soldering iron with a like massive tip.
The giant transformer on it. Yeah.
I like. Does anyone watch D-Lab Electronics?
Oh yeah,
and repairs, and then everybody gets it out. He has like the little clip, the old film clip. Love it.
Mm-hmm.
I was thinking about a soldering a specific soldering iron that some YouTube guy had, but probably won't. It won't be the. No, I guess it was the guitarologist. Do you know? Do you guys know that channel?
Yeah, he's another good one.
Yeah,
learned so much. In fact, he put me onto like doing the old Gibson GA5 amps. Oh man,
yeah.
I fudged my way through a few of them after watching his videos. Class. I'm a Hacko guy. I've got like the cheapest Hacko in the world, and I just can't get away from it. I've tried all sorts. I've tried them. Marcus Reeves put me onto these Chinese built ones that the tip was super hot. It would never cool down no matter what you put it on. But the thing beeped all the time. I'm on board a warship. It's beeping at me every 5 minutes. I couldn't do it. And then I go to pick it up and it turned itself off and like power saved. Or I don't want it to power save. I'm not paying for the energy. I'm at sea. Just get the thing on and get it turned up. I couldn't. It was too much for me. I couldn't have anything modern, is what I'm saying.
I'm using a Tenma right now. It's kind of the one that I settled on, just mainly because it was what was on sale at Newark Electronics. It was $120 soldering station for $39.95. So I was like, yeah, sign me up. It was like, because I had bought a cheap one for use, and it just completely died within a week. So
they don't last long.
Yeah.
I feel like I bought my Hacko and I buy a £6 tip maybe once a month, and that is, you don't have to pay the money on it. As if when I was starting out and I was using the same old, the old, what are they, the Temu soldering irons or whatever. Every other week I'd be buying a new one. And tune-up pedals is on.
I just saw that too.
And he's using the same soldering iron as me.
Yep.
The FX treble 8 is the best one.
But
I really want to stump up.
His previous comment, he was commenting away on Instagram, not realizing this was on YouTube.
Well, so we are actually live on Instagram as well. I haven't quite got that slick yet. Sometimes I never know if we are, but at least now we know we are live on Instagram. What about solder? I put out a video on what was the video about? Oh, I was making a box of rock. Z-Vex.
Oh, yes.
Z-Vex box of rock. And I got a lot of comments. Oh, mate, what is that circuit going? When I found the circuit, I was like, why is it so big? Yeah. It's not a million miles away from my Kossoff drive. I mean, it's different transistors and stuff, but it's not a million miles away. It's just so big. But I had a lot of comments of people asking about, soldering iron and solder. So do you have a specific type of solder that you use?
Just a regular 60-40, I guess, or 70-30. I can't remember the ratio, but it's the more available.
Yeah. I use the Kester 60-40 or the 62-38, I think. Yeah.
I can't afford the Kester. I'm a pauper, but I definitely that's the solder for me. It's got to have lead in it. I mean, if you use no components, you're never going to be ROS compliant. So, what's the point? You better get a better joint.
And if I have to worry about that, I'm having it manufactured at a factory somewhere anyway. It's like, if I'm building it,
and it's going to cost me 20 pence, and then that's the end of it. What about diameter? I'm a 0.7 guy. That's probably the most important thing for me. I find if it's thinner than that, you don't get enough solder in a joint. And if it's thicker, you have to really heat it up. Or
I actually never found a 0.7 around here. I usually those kind of some stuff I usually buy locally. The majority of the stuff I need to order online or something like that. But soldering iron, the soldering iron is solder. I just found the 0.8 to be the best, or at least for the temperature I use on my soldering iron. That's a big.
What temperature is that?
In
you can give it an either because me and John are on opposite ends of the spectrum here.
So probably oh man, Jesus, I can't remember. Probably 355.
That's
Fahrenheit. Be centigrade. No, that'd be centigrade.
Yeah, exactly.
Is it? I think I'm on like 180 centigrade on my one. I don't think mine goes up. I just turn it up to as hot as it'll go. That's the one for me.
Yeah. No, but for instance, if you use a thinner solder, it will be you don't need much more temperature to dissolve the stuff, I guess.
We got. I've never heard Marsden amplification again. He's using Kester or Cardus solder.
Yep.
Cardas. To be honest, I think the solder brand I use is Loctite.
Sorry?
Loctite, L-O-K-T-I-T. Yeah. I mean, it's available here from RS, so I tend to go for that. I get such random comments on my videos. I kind of like it because it means I've made it. But people telling me I'm soldering wrong, fantastic, brilliant. Because I tend to get a bit of solder.
The NASA way.
I know exactly. Heaven forbid. Well, it's good enough for government work. What can I say? But I normally just get the tip with a bit of solder on, wet the tip a little bit, put it on the biggest component, whichever that may be. Usually the tag for me, but it could be a big leg, depending on what you're using. Let it heat up and then just feed the solder into the joint. I didn't think it was complicated, but apparently I'm doing it wrong. I feel like it's nitpicking. Yeah. What about you, John? Do you have a specific technique? I feel like you're going to be the
man.
master at this and knowing how it should be done.
A lot of times it depends on what I'm trying to heat up and like how tight it is. I mean, I find myself sometimes like catching like myself with 3 things in one hand, holding on to it. And like, I don't need to hold like 3 capacitors in my hand to solder. So, I mean, I'm the wrong person to ask about soldering technique. You might find me like, you know, looking for tape to tape something down temporarily, or I'm holding it with my fingers and just using the fact that I've got, you know, no nerve endings left in these anymore. So
yeah, I really should get some of them arms to help me solder. I'm not professional enough.
I've got them. They're sitting on my shelf. They're sitting on my shelf looking at me. And every time, you know, I've finished doing some complex thing, I look right at them like, oh yeah, I could have used that, and go right back to it. So I don't know. You get stuck in your ways.
I feel bad if I never chased the component around my bench for a bit before I soldered it. And Dave Barry waiting for me to say wet the tip. It's become my catchphrase. So genuinely,
you need to make some shirts with that.
I need to. I need to find a good picture of maybe like a soldering iron.
A soldering iron.
Precariously looking not like a soldering iron.
You got to have the right angle and everything. Yeah.
But so for me, I've always just said that, and you know, I'm not formally trained. I've trained a few people on board on how to solder and stuff, and I've just always said that, and no one's ever pointed out that it wasn't exactly true or correct. But there you go.
Yeah,
that's the wonders of YouTube.
My dad is the person who taught me how to solder, so I just did whatever he did, which was whatever he could do to get it to work. I mean, he was the master of like bubble gum and duct tape and building, you know, whatever he could out of it. So
we say adapt and overcome, make it work today, tomorrow, and forever. Done. Doesn't matter how. Don't want to know. Oh, I love it. And we got Mike Rivers saying we need a wet the tip t-shirt. Right, that's what I'm doing.
Yes, sir.
I'm at a conference tomorrow, but when I get home, if my wife doesn't have me decorating anymore, I'm gonna be all over that. Let me tell you, I'm terrible at decorating, but I'm sick of it. We've managed to renovate our house in like 4 weeks, so we're not doing too bad. Jesus. I know. Not the workshop though. Yeah. So going outside of the Rangemaster, what sort of pedals would you stack that with? Because I know you say you don't use other drive pedals. Do you use like modulation and anything like that? And how do you find it stacks with modulation? Or
for instance, I live between two worlds. I have a massive bass pedal board because I play a lot with subs and all that kind of stuff, and so for instance, I'm in a project called Zazu Lab, which is like a mixture of Afrobeats with dubstep and all that kind of stuff, crazy. And cool. Sometimes I usually need to go after a certain sound, and I need to experiment a lot. So sometimes I have a modulation on at the beginning of the board, which is weird, at least. Sometimes it's just the other way around. I usually use a lot of tremolos and chorus. So yeah, those are my two go-tos in terms of modulation.
What brands do you use for them?
So the tremolo is one of ours, and the cars. I really this is weird, but I really dig the mower ones. The
I've heard a lot of good things pedals about those. Yeah,
they're phaser, flanger. What's it called? It's the Electric Lady or something like that. Fantastic.
I can't remember the name, but yeah, usually they can stand a lot. So I have one that never broke or anything else, anything for 3 years. Usually, so I play with them usually every single day, and they never fail it. And yeah, they're super small. They're so cute. Yeah.
So do you have a switcher then? Because obviously with them small pedals, I mean, I haven't got particularly big feet, but I can't aim that well. You know, do you have a switcher or do you have a?
Yeah, I usually use I can't remember the brand. I'm awful with names, sorry, but I usually I use a couple of switchers to engage them or disengage them. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, go on.
Yeah, I really want a gig rig switcher, but I just can't justify it. I don't play live. My pedal board's massive and I never play. It's just like, yeah, you got to. I know John's a fan of the old school, get your pedals on the floor and get them all out there.
I mean, you know, it's a drummer's rig is what it is. I mean, you know, I'm a professional drummer, so that's what you get. That's my pedal board. It's the floor.
I love it. Your pedal board to carry a bag.
Mm-hmm.
I love that. It's class. Yeah, I must admit, I've got a new chorus actually. Speaking of them, Steve over at Demodash Effects has sent me his new pedal that's not out yet. He sent me the prototype, and so far it's not been plugged in because I haven't got a workshop or gear to plug it into. But I must have sat there in my living room just with it in my hand, looking at it like for hours.
Oh, wow.
Fantastic! I can't wait. Yeah, fantastic. Yeah, I think for me, you've got to have some sort of chorus or a flanger or something like that on your board. Have to. And with Rangemaster into that and into a good amp, you've pretty much got everything.
Yeah. See, that's why I miss my old Carvin amp. Is it had the reverb, it had like all the modulation, it had a beautiful flange tremolo kind of effect going on, and so I've never had to have a pedal to do that. And now I'm like, oh, I miss that sound so much. So started digging up some of my old schematics to see what I have in those kind of things. And maybe I might build a little spring reverb pedal too. I've got some small spring tanks that'll fit inside of a large enclosure. So.
Oh, we're talking about that, weren't we? I need something like that in my life, definitely. I really want to try the, what's the whale, the white whale?
Oh, yeah. Those things are, man,
crazy
I'd
tube
love
circuits.
to have one. I would love to have one of those.
It's like an analog tremolo and then a spring reverb
and a spring reverb in the same pedal. Yeah. It sounds, it would cover all my bases that I missed from my amp. I almost bought one just for that reason.
Yeah. But it is tube driven or transistor?
No, it's transistor driven.
It's transistor driven. Yeah.
I feel like it's the size of a house though. That's the only thing. And
it's not that big.
Well, have you seen my board? To squeeze that on, I'd have to bump something off.
I mean, it's like I've seen the pedals that you build. Like you're saying, it's the size of a house, man.
I feel people's pain. Believe me, I can't. Yeah, I don't know. The thing is, I couldn't get rid of my harmonious monk for tremolo, and having two tremolos, it's just too much.
That would
But yeah.
It's time to start building.
I need to send you guys our new tremolo to see what you guys think.
Oh man, yeah.
Probably next week we'll do it.
Cool. Well, what we need to do is I need to send you something. I don't know what pedals yet. I feel like it should be a Rangemaster, right? But yeah. I'll see what I've got it's good the way. I'm meant to be doing a guitar show soon, but I've got exactly no pedals, Bill. So I don't know if that's going to happen. We'll see.
Oh wow,
it's in
Liverpool. A good thing.
Yeah, I know. The workshop's taking longer than I thought it was going to. And Wadey is a man after my own heart because my favorite flanger in the world, and I've got serial number 10.
Oh wow,
number 10, the 4P camo flange. Come on. That is literally the best flanger that has ever been invented. I mean, I haven't tried any of the vintage, the vintage ones, but that thing is unbelievable. And he's designed it with Dan Coggins, I believe, who is obviously the legend behind Love Tone.
Oh yeah,
unbelievable. Oh man, right. Well, I think we've pretty much discussed the Rangemaster to death there. This has been amazing. If you guys want to stay on the line for 5 after this, thank you to everyone in the comments, and we'll see you in 2 weeks' time. We're not too sure what we're going to do next day, John. What do you think?
Oh, wow. That's a good question. I mean, we've got so many places we could go. I'm really enjoying this runoff groove circuit that I did, the pepper mill, and then modifying it by adding the diode clipping into a, kind of a beast. I'd like to look into MOSFET and JFET stuff a little bit, because
cool.
I'm trying to figure out like what makes this thing so great. It's like, it's one of those things that's been sitting around in my book for 10, 15 years, and I never built it until just a couple of weeks ago because of this show. It was on the same page as what my Rangemaster circuit that I had was on. I said, ooh, I haven't built that yet. And so I put it together and it sounded awesome, and I went down the rabbit hole.
I think you've just coined the title as well. What makes this thing so great? That is definitely the episode title. There you go, folks. That's what we're going to have next week. I've been Hello Sailor Joe. Thank you and goodbye.
I've been John Mulholland Space Wolf.
Alex, Memory Lane.
Cheers, all.
Cheers.